Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. I will say this out of the gate, just so you know the mental state that I'm in. There is not enough espresso in the world to bring out of a 10:10 start time into an allegedly 6 o'clock start time of your own show, but it's like 6:30 at the time that we do this now. Welcome in either way. My brain is a marshmallow. My bread is a marshmallow. That's actually a great example. Excuse me 1 second. Clickety clank clank, clickety clank clank clank. All right, let's see how that does. Phillies lose last night to the Dodgers. That was terrible. Third inning of Aaron Nola, god awful. The knuckle curveball was flatlining by the time it got to home plate, especially on Teoscar Hernandez. We'll get into that game. We will talk about the LA Dodgers fans really performing well. And I might be the last person on planet Earth to say something nice about the LA Dodgers fans, but what they did last night for Freddie Freeman needs to be acknowledged. And that in itself, the applause that they gave needs to be applauded as well, because it was a true class act by LA Dodgers fans for Freddie Freeman. We'll get into that story. We will talk about the Aaron Nola third inning, because if it wasn't for that third inning, oh my goodness gracious, Phillies might be walking out of LA, driving back to their hotel with a W in last night's game. It was a Shohei Ohtani game versus Bryce Harper, so you knew it was going to get national attention. And we were also looking at the game to maybe be 2 wins in a row for the first time since the last time they played the Dodgers. But it wasn't meant to be. We'll hear from Aaron Nola about what went wrong in that third inning, where all 4 runs that he allowed in his 6 innings of work came in that third inning. We'll also talk about Garrett Stubbs getting the last at-bat of the game. Rob Thompson was asked afterwards if he thought about going to JT Realmuto or really anybody else other than Garrett Stubbs with a duck on the pond, as Nick Castellanos led off the inning with a single. And then the 3 following Phillies in Stott, Hayes, and Stubbs all swung at the first pitch, when Hudson himself had been struggling an 8-pitch at bat against Nick Castellanos. And then the final 3 batters of the game decided, hey, why push it? And what really bothered me was that one guy I don't mind of the 3 to swing at the first pitch is Bryson Stott. Even though, yeah, he works great at bats, but he was having himself a good game, had an RBI infield single on a chopper off the plate in the second inning. That was great too. But Stott looked first pitch fastball. It looked like he certainly was looking first pitch fastball. He got a first pitch fastball and boop, swung under it. All 3 guys pop out to the left side of the infield, and that was that. After the game, I will spoil it. I'll say that Rob Thompson did say that he thinks about a lot of things after the game. The main purpose for Rob Thompson last night was to make sure, in terms of the main purpose of Garrett Stubbs getting that at bat as opposed to anyone else, was that he especially wanted to make sure that JT Realmuto got a full day's rest. All right. Chance to do something there against the Dodgers. That's kind of feels like 2 at-bats that were kind of squandered. One by an erratic strike zone by home plate umpire blanking on his first name, Marvin Hudson. The strike 2, it was a 3-1 pitch that was very up in the zone. So up, in fact, in the zone that it was well out of the zone and should have been ball 4 to Brandon Marsh. Instead, it was strike 2, made it a 3-2 count, and Brandon Marsh later swung at I believe it was a fastball, low and away. Chased it out of the zone. Could have had a bases loaded situation there in the 8th inning, and unfortunately, that was a horrible call. The strike zone in itself last night, for those that didn't stay up and watch the game, I would describe it as consistently wide from side to side. There, both corners of the plate getting called, and the top of the zone, whether it was just at the top of the zone or it was maybe a loose seam of the baseball, would still tickle the strike zone. It was called a strike. So if it was close, it was a strike. It was a big strike zone yesterday, which also bothered me when it came to Aaron Nola not taking full advantage of that, especially, again, in that third inning. But that one pitch in particular to Brandon Marsh drove me bananas last night during the game. And I talked about it, of course, on the postcast last night as well. But that was awful. Absolutely awful. Nick Castellanos made some good plays for you last night. He had some good ABs. The Phillies had luck on their side in the second inning. And they needed another ace of a start from another guy who's supposed to be an ace in this staff, in Aaron Nola. And he did not come through. He came through pretty much in every other inning, but the third, where again all 4 runs of his were scored. We'll let you hear from Aaron Nola about what went wrong. Rob Thompson described it as maybe a little curveball happy, a little knuckle curve happy. Whatever it was flattening out by the time it got to home plate. And the down and in knuckle curve that he threw to Teoscar Hernandez, he just ripped down the left field line. It was like one of those shots where you see the contact in the batter's box from the over the shoulder angle over Aaron Nola, the general camera angle, and then by the time they flashed to where the ball was going, it was already a souvenir. The exit velo on that was pretty bonkers, but yeah, not Aaron Nola's best stuff. There seems to be an early love affair between Saquon Barkley and the city of Philadelphia, and I take this stuff hook, line, and sinker. I love every second of this. The Eagles held their joint practice last Thursday. Saquon Barkley was addressing the media in full yesterday for the first time since that joint practice. And I have the clip for you. We'll let you hear it. The impression you make on players, Philadelphia, especially guys that have, to the point of coming to Philadelphia, have played their careers in one spot. Or let's just say maybe they've bounced around a little bit. I was reminded yesterday of Saquon Barkley, I was reminded yesterday by Saquon Barkley of J.J. Redick when he came to the 76ers. He's like, I've played in a lot of cities. Philadelphia is like the first chance I'm getting to play in a true sports city. Like New York gets kind of diluted with the Mets and the Yankees and the Jets and the Giants. Like it gets a little the Nets and the Knicks, and it's a huge market. Don't get me wrong. Like there's still a very passionate fan base. We've had plenty of back and forth with them throughout our lives, haven't we, Philadelphia? But when you see a player come in to this city, and maybe for the first time, it's actually the fans rooting for him as opposed to vehemently rooting against him as a member of the New York Giants. When he gets asked the question about what it was like to walk out on that football field at Lincoln Financial Field for a practice and hear the fans, it was chills. Saquon Barkley lit up like a Christmas tree when he was asked the question about the fan base here. And he did liken it for the Penn Staters out there. He did liken it to being at the Happy Valley and the Penn State football fans being out there for whiteouts or what have you, and how much you wanted to make sure that on your home field you showed your hometown fans, your school fans, a W. He wants to do the same thing here in Philadelphia. And you could tell it was a goosebumps moment for him. He also talked about the genesis behind the question he asked of Jalen Hurts. If you haven't seen this is incredible. Last week, Philadelphia Eagles released a great clip of Jalen Hurts running around the football field. He was mic'd up, and Saquon Barkley went up to him and just asked him, "Are you fearless? Are you fearless?" And Jalen Hurts, I've always said, is one of my favorite philosophers of all time. Like Marcus Aurelius, Satchel Paige, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Yogi Berra is up there. But it was like he was prepared for the question. And what Saquon said was that he was reading this book, and it talked about being fearless. And Saquon thinks of himself as fearless. And he asked Jalen Hurts the question, "Are you fearless?" And he's just like, yeah, I'm fearless. I got God and I put in the work. Like, what other combination do you need? And I'm like, now that right there is a man who does not fear anything. I got God. All right, that's a pretty big box to check. And I put in the work. That's a pretty big box to check. And the way he answered the question was just so calm and cool. Like, yeah, of course, I'm fearless. Get out of here. Why should I fear? I'm prepared. When people ask the question, do you get nervous? Just in general, not to me personally, but just in general. My thought process on it is like, if you worked your ass off and it's showtime or it's game time, Why are you nervous? You're ready for the moment. You should be excited to put your skills on display. That's always been my personal philosophy about that question when people get asked that question. And Jalen Hurts pretty much said the exact same, like, I put in the work. What are you talking about? Absolutely love that. And yesterday, Saquon Barkley even said, yeah, he had a pretty damn good answer, didn't he? That was a great answer. And it was a great answer. Highly recommend watching that video that the Eagles put out last week on Jalen Hurts being mic'd up. It was great. It was phenomenal. Nakobe Dean's not getting great marks right now. Sunday, Nick Sirianni was doing his press conference. We played a clip or two from it yesterday, but he was asked about, the question about like who's standing out right now in practice. Zach Bond, a guy that the Eagles picked up this offseason from the Saints, most recently with the Saints, hasn't started many games in his NFL career. I thought they were just bringing him in mostly as a special teamer. And turns out he is turning a lot of heads. Now, Vic Fangio wouldn't say as much as to who the starting linebackers are going to be yesterday. I think it's a pretty safe bet that Devin White is going to be a starting middle linebacker, interior linebacker for this Eagles defense. But as for the other guy that won't be an edge rusher more so than anything, Zach Bond seems to be turning a lot of heads. Nick Sirianni sung his praises about toughness and work ethic on Sunday. And then yesterday, Zach Bond was very flattered to hear that about his head coach calling him out. And then Vic Fangio, when he was addressing the media yesterday, was asked about the progress of Nakobe Dean, and he gave a very honest answer. After his first press conference of the training camp, I told you Vic Fangio is going to be a breath of fresh air when it comes to honesty with this football team. He flat out said that Nakobe Dean is taking a step back. Flat out said it. Gave him a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of praise, but he's like, then he kind of took a step back. Okay, Vic Fangio. All right, well, let me keep on getting that honesty. The Eagles also, I don't know if it has much to do with the status of Nakobe Dean, but they did add another linebacker, a former fourth-round pick in 2020 in Shaquille Henderson, or Quarterman. Been a special teamer throughout most of his career. I would assume that is the role that he stays in here in Philadelphia. But what it sounds like, your linebacker position is being shaken up a little bit. You never know who's going to get out there and actually play that position. Also talked about Quinyon Mitchell and his progression. Continues to turn heads at training camp, continues to get a lot of attention at training camp, continues to progress. And one of the things he was also asked about was the turnovers in practice. Now, again, it's practice. But as we are praising Jalen Hurts, who put another good day together yesterday, the other side of it is, hold on a second, Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown an interception yet at practice? Okay. So what the hell is the defense doing? Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want my quarterback to be throwing interceptions, but I do kind of want my defense to be picking off footballs throughout the season. When's that going to happen? When's someone going to bait him into an interception? When is he going to miss a read? When is he going to be confused by what the defense is doing in front of him? And he's going to make a mistake. When's the defense going to force Jalen Hurts? It might be the only time where I'm like, Jalen Hurts needs to throw an interception. But I didn't even think about that until I was listening to Vic Fangio yesterday. He got asked a question about, hey, turnovers really aren't happening for the defense in training camp. What's going on? And he was like, yeah, it's something we got to work on. And I'm like, I kind of have to, like, all right, fine. Tanner McKee, start throwing interceptions. Somebody's got to get picked off here. Let's go. So, yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on in training camp. Friday, man. All gets underway Friday. Eagles preseason. As far as starters playing and not playing, Vic Fangio did say yesterday that it's all Nick Sirianni really hasn't made up his mind yet. So guys are going to keep fighting. He has said over the years he doesn't meet many football players that don't want to play football. Fair enough. Hopefully they play Friday. I want to see him play. As far as Jalen Hurts playing, my stance on this, and it won't change, is I don't want him really going out there doing anything crazy. I don't want him really running many plays at all. I think before the season, Cam Jurgens needs to give a snap in a game to Jalen Hurts. Cam Jurgens needs to have some sort of practice in a game situation with Jalen Hurts before the season starts. For my own sanity, I want to see that. And then I also think it just makes sense. I don't care if you just if you hand the ball to Kenny Gainwell. I don't care. Give me a snap under center, give me a shotgun, and then whatever you feel it needs to do more work after that. I just want to see that communication. I want them to have that experience of communication when it comes to the starters playing at all in the preseason. If there's one thing that I want at least to happen in a preseason game, it's Jalen Hurts, yes, on the football field in a very protected environment of Cam Jurgens and him just getting a little communication under their belt, a little experience doing that, and then handing the ball off. I don't need Jalen Hurts dropping back for a pass. I don't need him thinking he needs to scramble. No, I just be there. I don't care. Even one snap. Just give me one snap. Just so when you go into Brazil, that's not the first time that they're shifting protection and communicating with one another. Please. Just give me that. Give them that. Because to me, that really Tyler Steen has taken a step forward in his recovery, so that's good. But other than the Cam Jurgens, Jalen Hurts communication, I don't have any other true concern. Injuries are always a thing, but every team has an injury concern and all that stuff. Just in terms of X's and O's, what I need to see, I just want to make sure that Cam Jurgens and Jalen Hurts are on the same page. It's a pretty, regardless of what you think of Cam Jurgens and his physical skill, the difference in who's going to have that call on protection and that communication between Jalen Hurts and his center, I think it just needs to be practiced. You're going from a Hall of Famer in Jason Kelce to a guy who hasn't done it at the NFL level yet. That's the bottom line. So iron out that kink if it's a bit of a problem. Let's get into the rest of this. Oh boy. Let's get into your Philadelphia Phillies. So last night, they go into Los Angeles to start a 3-game series with the Dodgers. Aaron Nola's on the hill. You'll have Christopher Sanchez tonight. But Aaron Nola goes in there looking for back-to-back wins. Again, something the Phillies haven't done since that series against the Dodgers in South Philly. Ever since then, the Phillies have been a much different baseball team. The Braves were off last night. So Phillies taking the loss. They lose a half game there in the standings. 5.5 games up on the Braves right now in the NL East. And they went in there last night. In the first inning, Kyle Schwarber goes down on a 3-2 fastball. Off the plate. Takes a hack at it. He goes down. Trey Turner, by the way, Tyler Glasnow was pitching for the Dodgers last night. Turner goes up there, strikes out on a fastball away. Harper goes up there, another 3-2 pitch. This one a slider, flails at it. 1, 2, 3. Glasnow strikes out the side. Go to the bottom of the first inning, 13-pitch inning for Aaron Nola. He's dialed in. He strikes out Freddie Freeman on a 5-pitch at bat. Drops in the knuckle curve on him, sits him down. Before that, though, this is where I have to highlight it for the Dodgers fans. Freddie Freeman, of course, his son, Max, had been in the hospital with a very rare condition. He had been away from the team for 9 days. Before the game, he spoke about going to the hospital and seeing his son hooked up to all different types of machines and identified with the reporters in the room, saying, I think a lot of us in here are parents, and seeing your child like that is awful. So Freddie Freeman walked to the plate at Dodger Stadium yesterday to a beautiful ovation, a standing ovation from LA Dodgers fans. You saw him and Marvin Hudson, the home plate umpire, kind of be like, yeah, okay, take this moment. And he stepped out of the batter's box, acknowledged the crowd. Nick Castellanos took his hat off to him. Bryce Harper hugged him. Later in the game, when Freddie Freeman got to first base, they'd exchanged 4 or 5 text messages, according to Bryce Harper, throughout the week. And sometimes things are bigger than baseball when you remember things about these guys actually being humans and fathers. And that was a very touching moment at Dodger Stadium yesterday. So good job, Dodgers fans. In the second inning, Phillies got on the board. First 2 outs of the inning recorded right off the bat. Brandon Marsh and Alec Boehm grounded out to second. Marsh goes up there and strikes out on a slider at the top of the zone. That would have been a strike pretty much all night. Then Nick Castellanos goes up there, and you're thinking, oh, my goodness gracious, are you going to get some good luck on your side? Are the baseball gods going to smile upon the Phillies again, as they did with Brandon Marsh's catch the previous day, the previous game, Sunday in Seattle? Nick Castellanos drives a pitch, a slider, deep to center field. Andy Pages, the center fielder there, it looks like Pages, but it's Pages. He goes back on it, just gets turned around, misplays it, ball drops in, bounces off the bottom of the wall in center field. Nick Castellanos gets a 2-out triple, just like that. Bryson Stott's the next batter, so the Phillies get some luck on their side with that. Bryson Stott's the next batter. He tops a pitch off the plate. So now it's a chopper going back to Glasnow. More luck on the Phillies side. Nick Castellanos, I think, just forgot how many outs there were in the inning, and he freezes between third and home. Right in front. I'm talking 10 feet in front of Tyler Glasnow. And Glasnow, instead of, oh, this guy's right in front of me, I'm just going to get him in a rundown and get him out. But instead of just doing that, which would, by the way, be the easier play, believe it or not, he turns and fires to first despite this high chopper off the plate and a speedy Bryson Stott busting it down the first base line. He turns and fires to first. Castellanos, I guess, Wathan was like, dude, there's 2 outs. And Nick Castellanos is probably like, oh, no way. Oh, okay, cool. And then he goes home and scores. For an RBI infield single for the first run of the ball game, Phillies are up 1-0. Couple of lucky moments there, right then and there, in those 2 batters in the game there for the Phils. Hayes then steps up next. Stott's on first base. Hayes hits a single to left field, a little bit down the line, doubles territory. But what made Hayes take second base on the play was that Bryson Stott again busted his arch around second base to third. So then instead of just having runners on first and second with 2 outs, you have runners on second and third with 2 outs. And what does that set up? Well, that sets up Garrett Stubbs stepping up to the plate, where Glasnow spiked one. Now, don't forget, there in L.A., there's a huge distance between home plate and then the backstop. Stott breaks for home, scores the second run of the ball game on a wild pitch. So you had a misplay by Pages there. You had a misplay by Tyler Glasnow. And then you had a misplay by Glasnow when you talk about the wild pitch, allowing a run to score. 2 runs gifted to you with 2 outs there for the Phils. I'll take it. I'll take it every time. You go into the bottom of the second inning. Everything's fine and dandy there. Aaron Nola gives up a hit to Lux. Then he gets a 6-4-3 double play by Kike Hernandez. I don't know about you, but whenever I think of Kike Hernandez, I always think about him calling Chase Utley dad with such great affection. Third inning, Phillies don't get anything going there either. They go down 1-2-3. Another strikeout for Kyle Schwarber on a 3-2 count. This one, another slider at the top of the zone. Harper strikes out on a curveball to end the frame. Trey Turner gets his first of 2 hanging sliders in this ballgame in the third inning here. So the second out of the third, top of the third inning, he tattooed. And he just hit it right into center field, right at Pages there in center field. Bottom of the third inning is where all hell breaks loose. Hayward leads it off with a double, comes around to score on Pages' RBI double. It's a 2-1 ball game. That was on a knuckle curve that stayed up, an 8-pitch at bat. Then Ahmed steps up there. He gets an infield single to second. Stott made a great diving play that saved a run at the time, ended up unfortunately only delaying it because the next batter, Shohei Ohtani, stepped up there, got a sac fly RBI to right field. So it's a 2-2 game. They have a little mound conference. Then Teoscar Hernandez steps up there and belts a 2-run home run down the left field line on a knuckle curve that came down and in. He blasted at 390 feet. That thing traveled 390 feet in about 2 seconds. That ball was gone. So all of a sudden, it's a 4-2 ball game. Freddie Freeman got the single to right field. That's where he had the little exchange with Bryce Harper at first. And then Will Smith stepped up there in his huge contract with a 4-6-3 double play for Aaron Nola to get out of that inning. Let's pause it right there for a second. Aaron Nola, on what the hell happened in that third inning. 26 pitches thrown for Aaron Nola after a 13-pitch first inning, 21-pitch second inning, 26-pitch third inning. I honestly, when I went to count up the pitches after the third inning, I went, that had to be 35. That had to be 35 pitches. It was not. Here's Aaron Nola. What the hell happened in the third?
Was it just a couple, missed spots there?
Yeah, missed spots. I put some good swings on the ball. I mean, doubles hurt me. They've hurt me the past few games, especially leadoff doubles. I hadn't had too many 1, 2, 3 innings, and I think that's hurt me. But I just feel like fastball command was off tonight. Early on, yeah, I mean, they were decent, but overall wasn't that good. Curveball was hanging. There's some hanging ones right there in that third inning, and they capitalized on it.
All right, so fast forward to the fourth inning. Another leadoff double. Cassie had a weird slide on that play. I don't know why I did that, but he did it. Anyway, Lux gets a leadoff double. Then he gets Teoscar Hernandez pop out to short. He gets Jason Hayward to ground out to first, and then Pages strikes out looking at a fastball that he was not at all expecting. It went from a 26-pitch third inning with 4 runs to no runs, 15 pitches in the fourth inning. Fifth inning, he strikes out. I meant to strike things out, start things off there on a knuckle curve. Ohtani gets a double on a 3-0 fastball. Teoscar Hernandez lines out to left field on one pitch, and Freddie Freeman grounds out to second on a great play by Bryson Stott. Settled into the fifth inning again, 14 pitches. Sixth inning, Phillies get a run back in the top of the inning. Bottom of the inning, a 1-2-3 inning, thanks in large part to, again, Bryson Stott laying out at second base to rob Will Smith of a base hit. And then he gets Lux to pop out to second, and Kike Hernandez to line out to second. So all the outs made there at second base by Bryson Stott in the sixth inning. So you look up and down his start, the only inning that got Aaron Nola was the third inning. And yes, he did give up the long ball. When you look at Zach Wheeler and what he was able to do on Sunday, you, quite frankly, needed a repeat performance from one of your other solid arms. And unfortunately, you didn't get that. You didn't even get a quality start. And I know it's one bad inning, but it's still one bad inning. It's still a really bad inning. 4 runs across the plate. Phillies are going to need somebody to step up with miraculous play. Like, somebody's got to carry this team. I'm hoping it was Bryce Harper. He got a double last night. That was good. Nick Castellanos had a couple of hits for you. He was 2 for 4. That's good. The triple, of course, that was the misplay by Pages in center field. But they need someone that you can just rely on in this lineup that, hey, no matter what, they're going to be the guy on fire. They're going to be the guy that's going to be the difference in the game. Zach Wheeler was certainly that for you against the Mariners. You need someone to step up in the series here against the Dodgers to make sure that you're coming away with victories. They're facing Clayton Kershaw tonight, 10-10. It's not going to get much easier. The offense is pretty much tapped out. They did get some other opportunities later in the ball game. After the 6th, Alec Boehm got that the RBI ground out following the Kyle Schwarber leadoff single. Harper got a W at second and third with 1 out. Boehm brought Schwarber home on a little tapper that bounced over Glasnow at the mound. So I made it a 4-3 game, and then Ohtani made it a 5-3 game with an absolute blast off Banks in his second inning of work in the game. Banks had a 1-2-3 7th inning using just 6 pitches, then came back out for the 8th inning, and Ohtani took him deep when a changeup hung out over the middle of the plate. It was a batting practice pitch that Shohei Ohtani did not blast, but he hit it 384 feet for a home run, made it a 5-3 game, and that was it. 9th inning did frustrate me with Nick Castellanos stepping up there, working an 8-pitch at bat. His at-bats have been money recently. But here's the thing that I found so interesting. They have Hudson trying to close the game out there for the Dodgers. Castellanos goes up there, takes the first 2 pitches. It's a 1-1 count. He then works an 8-pitch at bat that he finishes off with a single. Then Stott swings at the first pitch. Hayes swings at the first pitch. Stubbs swings at the first pitch. Stott pops out to third, and then Hayes and Stubbs pop out to shortstop. And that was all. That was it. As I mentioned, Rob Thompson after the game was talking about potentially putting up JT Realmuto, but he wanted to make sure JT Realmuto got his full day off. I'm really hoping that at some point this really does turn the tide. And I wasn't expecting, after the Brandon Marsh miracle catch there in Seattle, I wasn't expecting all of a sudden the Phillies to win 10 in a row. So maybe some kind of winning streak starts today, or let's go for 1 again. And then all of a sudden, the Phillies have won 2 of 3 since the Brandon Marsh catch. All right, let's keep that going. Very frustrating team last night. The things that drove me crazy were the Phillies got really lucky in the early goings of that game and then couldn't use those two lucky moments to fuel a win. Aaron Nola's overall performance, and then the approach to the plate. Trey Turner. I heard after the game, Rob Thompson talking about Trey Turner had some good ABs. I'm like, what? He was swinging the bat well. That was what he said. Sorry. He was swinging the bat well. Yeah, he was swinging the bat well, but a little better decision-making would have been nice. You talk about it all the time. We've mentioned a bunch with Bryce Harper recently in terms of guys getting ready to break out of slumps, squaring up the baseball and all that. Trey Turner was doing that last night, but he wasn't getting production out of it. The best example of that was probably the eighth inning. Schwarber had the leadoff walk, was down 0-2, fought back against Vonda, worked the walk. Then Trey Turner stepped up there on a 3-pitch at bat. First one was low. He laid off of that. Second one was in there. He went up there hacking at. And then the third one, he got the pitch he was expecting, lined it into center field. But again, hit it on the screws, but right at Pajes there in center field. Phillies take the 5-3 loss. Dodgers now in the National League. Throughout this entire process, the Phillies have been the best record in the National League. They have been the best record in baseball, as we all know. The Guardians have kind of taken that over. Kind of. They have taken that over. Now the Phillies in the National League still have the best record. They are a half game better than the LA Dodgers. Lose tonight, and they're looking up at the Dodgers in the National League, and they are no longer the best record in the National League. It's a miracle, considering all things. Miracle, I tell you, that the Phillies have even hung in there as the best team in the National League through all these struggles. We got into a big conversation last night on the postcast about Garrett Stubbs versus Rafael Marchand. It's August 6th. Rafael Marchand will be up here in September. It would not shock me if Garrett Stubbs did not make the postseason roster. It would not shock me, because even if he doesn't make the postseason roster, he's still going to be in the clubhouse. Still going to be around the team. Still going to be a vibes guy. But you'll have a much better bat in the lineup. And I know that's something I know that's something you, I know that's something we are looking forward to. Watch Rafael Marchand save the season in September. Watch that happen. If Brandon Marsh's catch didn't do it first. You know what I'm saying? All right, Phillies back at a 10-10 start time tonight. As I mentioned earlier, Christopher Sanchez gets the start. Lefty matchup. Clayton Kershaw goes for the Dodgers in tonight's game. I think he only went 3 2/3 in his second start of the season. That Clayton Kershaw fella against the San Diego Padres, I think it is. 0-1, 5.87 ERA on the season against the Padres, who went 3 2/3. 7 runs. Sweet sassy Molassie. 3 of them earned. Did give up a home run. The Dodgers have won 1 of his 2 starts so far this year. His first start of the season, he went 4 innings, allowing 2 earned runs. And issued 2 walks against the Giants. We'll see what he's got tonight. All right, let's get into some football, shall we? Let's get into that football. Yesterday, Saquon Barkley addressed the media. Zach Bond addressed the media. Devin White spoke. But 2 things that really jumped out to me yesterday were Vic Fangio and Saquon Barkley. Two of the guys that spoke jumped out to me. Saquon Barkley. Let's get the good vibes going first. This is the impression you made, Philadelphia, on Saquon Barkley now that he is on the right side of the field. Now that he's on the right side of the rivalry, if you will. Saquon Barkley, Penn State product, on what it was like running out there on the football field at Lincoln Financial Field in front of 50,000 fans for a practice.
That one was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I already knew how much love this city has for not only this team but all the teams around here. But for a practice to have 50,000 fans is truly insane. So thank you to all those fans that came out and showed love and support. That's big. It helps us as a team, man, and it makes us want to go out there. It's like it kind of get like a college feel again, like when I was in college. Like you don't want no one to come to Beaver Stadium and get a win there. You get that feel here. It's like you know how much every week is, but how much more it even means when you're playing in the link. So, like I said, thank you to everyone that showed up, but it definitely meant a lot, and you could just see how much love and support the fans have for not only our team, but all the teams in the city.
Imagine playing for that. I know some people might think it's corny, but man, that is pretty fantastic. If you ask me, you could see it on his face. Like he was blown away by it. We know it could go both ways. It can certainly go both ways. There's a booing component to that, but know that that's what waits for you if you have some success. That's what waits for you if you show the fruits of your labor on the football field, which I have a pretty good feeling Saquon Barkley is going to do this year. As far as the playing the sport, not just talking about it, but as far as playing it, some of the things that he got into were the practice habits on this team. Like it's all systems go all the time. The timing between him and his offensive lineman and actually running screens, not just tight end screens, not just bubble screens, but actual old-fashioned screens, like when Brian Westbrook was playing, screens. Timing of that's all coming between him and Jalen Hurts, him and the offensive line, waiting for the guys to go out there and pull and get set, get in their spots. All that's coming along. I can't wait for that to be part of the offense again. Will it be just like Brian Westbrook? Probably not. They don't do it quite like that as much in the NFL. But just to have that in the arsenal of the Eagles is going to be a wonderful thing to have back. And that's something that I feel like almost every year we have talked about and then barely actually seen it play out on the field. Talk about cutting down on turnovers for Jalen Hurts, keeping it around the line of scrimmage. That's exactly what you want to see, and that's exactly the way you can do it. So good to hear all that coming together. Then Vic Fangio. A bunch of stuff came out from Vic Fangio yesterday. One of the more serious note, we'll get to the other one later. We'll play one, we'll talk about the other. Nakobe Dean has left a lot to be desired, unfortunately. And I really do root for the guy because I do believe that he works his ass off. But it's a matter of being healthy. And as the old saying goes, you heard it a million times, the best ability is availability. And Nakobe Dean hasn't been all that available. Last year, I had an opportunity to take the starter reins. Got hurt. Eagles had to rely on Zach Cunningham. And the reason I bring up Shaquille Quarterman is because the Eagles had to go out there and sign different linebackers last year. And Miles Jack, who actually ended up with the Steelers late in the season, I think an October signing, maybe November signing. And Zach Cunningham became like, when he got hurt, he became a linebacker you were pining over. Oh, dear God, please, can Zach Cunningham come in and help this defense? That's the point we were at. I see Devin White having a bounce back year from some struggles he had there in Tampa. It seems like he's certainly looking at this as a reset button for his career. He certainly has taken on a leadership role right out of the gate, which I love to see. But when it comes to that other linebacker spot that's going to be starting next to Devin White, Nakobe Dean was supposed to get that job. Now it looks like Zach Bond is going to get that job. Here's Vic Fangio talking about Nakobe Dean in what started out well and then kind of drifted off a bit.
Good. I thought Nakobe had the first few days of practice, I thought he played really, really good. And, took a step back a little bit in the stadium practice, but overall he's been doing really good.
For a coach to even acknowledge, now most of what he said sounded positive, right? But for a coach to even acknowledge a step back, that you don't hear that. Vic Fangio is going to say that, and Vic Fangio said it. When he was asked about Bryce Huff, coming along. When it comes to honesty, you're going to get that breath of fresh air from Vic Fangio. I don't know many coaches that are going to acknowledge the step back. Maybe there's a little bit of a struggle, but, he's got it, that kind of thing. Because Nakobe Dean's going to hear it. Just like Zach Bond heard the praise of Nick Sirianni, Nakobe Dean's going to hear the step back. And here's the other thing. I doubt that's the first time Nakobe Dean is hearing that he struggled at the open practice. I'm sure that was already addressed in a meeting. We're talking about something that happened, 4 days ago? So, yeah, he's already heard it, I'm sure. But to have it acknowledged publicly, some players that rubs the wrong way. And so be it. You need to be tough on the football field physically. You need to be mentally tough off the football field. If you can't take that acknowledgement of struggle, well, then it's going to be a very long road to the regular season throughout a Vic Fangio training camp as a member of his defense. But again, I love the honesty. If a guy struggles, say it. And I very much doubt, like I said, it's the first time Nakobe Dean heard, oh, wow, the coach thought I struggled. I think Vic Fangio is kind of honest and open and direct when it comes to that. He was also asked about, throughout his career, he's been a booth guy. He hasn't been a sidelines guy. He was asked about that, and it's the answer that pretty much everybody gives is just you see everything. You have the view of everything. He's got position coaches down there in the field that do a great job of coaching their positions, correcting mistakes. But he needs to see exactly what his defense is doing at every second when they're out there on the football field. That's why he's up there in the booth. He also shouted out Merrill Reese because he had a chance to go to Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame enshrinement. And he congratulated Merrill Reese. And what I love about Vic Fangio is obviously, he's from not too far from Philly. And I'll reference it again, coached the Philadelphia Stars back in the day, so he's got plenty of experience in Philadelphia. He shouted out Harry Callis yesterday, and he even shouted out Dave Zinkoff. And he was like, yeah, some of the guys even showed their age. They didn't even know who Dave Zinkoff was. And I felt bad. Our man, John McMullen, he was down there, and Vic Fangio was like, he's looking right at him, and you hear John McMullen in the press conference go, you're looking at me. I know who Dave Zinkoff is. Like, I'm old enough to know who Dave Zinkoff is. Like, I'm barely old enough to know who Dave Zinkoff is, but I know the history. And I love that he shouted out Zink. I mean, this is a guy, Vic Fangio, that's calling out players in practice, and appropriately so. It's not like he's overly aggressive with it. He goes to the Palladium to get some cutlets and a basket of wings, right? And he's shouting out Dave Zinkoff when praising Merrill Reese for getting inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame broadcasters wing. That is awesome. If you don't know who Dave Zinkoff was, if you've ever heard the Julius the Dr. Irving, that's Dave Zinkoff. At Wells Fargo Center, they have Zinkoff Drive. He was the PA announcer for the Philadelphia 76ers, a legend. And I even tip my cap to Dave Zinkoff when I do the Philadelphia Wings game as the PA announcer. When they have me do the non-smoking read, like it's a non-smoking arena, I throw a little zinc on there. Actually, if it's more true, it's Conklin Zinc. Your non-smoking neighbor. I always throw that in there as an homage to Dave Zinkoff. So if you don't know Dave Zinkoff, you should know Dave Zinkoff, Philadelphia sports fans of the younger generation. Everything. Looking over my notes one more time from Fangio. Oh, this was an interesting factoid. So Milton Williams has kind of become the third wheel. And you have Jalen Carter on the defensive line. You have Jordan Davis on the defensive line, both talking all about improvement and conditioning and all that stuff. And you have people like myself talking about this is the thinnest the Eagles' defensive line has been in recent memory. The thinnest the Eagles' defensive line has been in recent memory. And Milton Williams is back here like, I'm pretty good too. So Vic Fangio said yesterday that when he was with Miami, he tried trading for Milton Williams, but Howie Roseman wouldn't do it. I'm like, well, that's something. That's a bit of a nugget. So Vic Fangio is a Milton Williams guy. Now he's got him, along with Jalen Carter and along with Jordan Davis. Here they are. I bet he's happy Howie didn't trade for him now. Hey, let me tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off. Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. You want to bet on the world of baseball? Go right ahead. Want to bet on the world of the games overseas? You could go right ahead and do so at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Use promo code Farzy. Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. How about the Game Time app? Phillies will be back from this road trip 5 more games or 6 more games. So the Phillies are back from this road trip. They have 4 in Arizona after their next 2 games in LA against the Dodgers. You want to go to a game? Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. They have last-minute ticket deals, flash ticket deals. They even have a ticket deal for an hour after the event starts. So let's say you're going to a concert or a comedy show. You might miss the opening act. You might miss the middle, but you'll see that headliner at a great discounted price on the Game Time app. And how about the Game Time guarantee? If you find tickets in the same section in a row for less money on another ticketing site or app, the Game Time app will get you back at 110% of the difference. What? Yeah. How about that on the Game Time app? You can also view your seat before you buy it so you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. Once again, download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Terms apply. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing a Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people that do it on this fine Tuesday morning. Weather's not looking great for this weekend. Lil Toots is turning 5 on Friday. Birthday party Saturday. It is a pool party. Weather's not looking great. Gonna need some shelter. It looks like right now. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? How you doing? Jason A, what's popping? Good morning, everyone. Man, I had a feeling the Phils were going to lose last night. I had a feeling too. Jason A, in all honesty, as a game time approach, I went, you know what? It's not just going to turn around just like that because of Marsh's catch. But they are going to start winning games with more regularity now. I see them winning tonight. Phillies are going to win tonight, man. They're going to win tonight. And then they're going to win in Arizona. They're not going to, maybe they win game 3 of the series. I don't know. But the turnaround started. Laugh out loud. Clickety, clack, clank, clack, clank, clank, clank. You're welcome. These are the sounds in my head. IBH, what's going on? Sean Kilrain, what's popping? Good morning, April. April. So glad I didn't stay up to watch the end of that game. Good for you, April. Whoops. Phillies team is giving me more gray hairs. Yeah, my beard is getting a little grayer. Can you see it? Right here in this section. They're coming in. Sean Kilrain, Freddie Freeman said Bryce Harper texted him at least 4 times during his 9 days on the family emergency leave. Just check in at first base. They shared a hug. It was beautiful. It really was, man. I'm a softie when it comes to all that stuff. I really am. And when Philadelphia gave the standing ovation to Tony Gwynn Jr. the day Tony Gwynn Sr. died, 2 things really stuck out to me about that. As far as beautiful moments of realizing there's something bigger than the game. One was just the ovation that the Philly fans gave in general. The other, Jared Saltalamacchia. I think they were playing the Marlins. Jared Saltalamacchia was the catcher at the time. Before the pitch clock, Jared Saltalamacchia, during the ovation, went out to the mound just to make it last longer. Or I should say, just to make sure that Tony Gwynn Jr. got his due. So when I see moments like that, and last night is a moment like that, when I see fans acknowledge the human side of the game, especially for a father that just went through what Freddie Freeman and his wife and his family and his 2 other kids went through as well. Oh my God. It's a beautiful thing. It restores all faith in humanity, moments like that. Harper, a class act, Farzy. Absolutely, Sean. Beautiful moment. Always a class act. Barkley is also incredible. He absolutely is. April, that's Sean. Shouting out Sean for the story. Absolutely, it's awesome. Who are your starting linebackers? Well, right now it's Zach Bond and Devin White. I know Vic Fangio was saying yesterday, there's it's still a competition. I understand that there's still a lot of camp left here. You still got a month before your first regular season game. But if you're betting money, I think the betting odds right now, Devin White is a lock, and then Zach Bond is going to be the other starting linebacker. And then you're going to have an edge rusher mixed in there like you did with Hassan Reddick. Speaking of honesty, Bryce Huff's still getting it. He's working hard. Still talking about the guy like he's a undrafted free agent pickup, a throw-in in the offseason. And he's a $50 million player. Fuji, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Did anyone see the commercial with Jalen Hurts for the 2028 Olympics? I saw the beginning of it, and I checked out. Alex, what's going on? How do you feel about keeping Milton and letting JD walk if Milton plays better? No. Letting Jordan Davis walk? God, no. How do I feel about it? I feel terrible. Like, for that situation to play out, that means that Jordan Davis was a complete bust. I don't want that to happen. I want Milton to play better than a number 3 option defensive tackle. But I also want Jordan Davis to reach his full potential. So no, I would not. I do not like that. I do not like that, Alex. But if it warrants, if Jordan Davis is terrible again by like week 10, then yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. But I still don't think, even if Jordan Davis has a terrible year this year, I don't think the Eagles just release him. Was the signing of Shaq Quarterman the same as last year when Howie signed Zach Cunningham? I don't think so. Zach Cunningham was a starter in the NFL, wasn't mostly a special teamer. Quarterman's mostly a special teamer, but it's more competition at the position. Alex, I know you see my comment. I didn't see it until just now. Chat checks later in the show, brother. Brahim? What's going on? They need to practice. I concur. We need to see at least a couple series in the preseason, but Eagles brass usually doesn't want it. I agree. I know. But I want to see Juergens exchange with Hurts in a game. Starters need a series. I agree. Babs, what's going on? Mets won, so do the Diamondbacks. In fact, Diamondbacks are close to actually passing the Braves. The breakdown right now in the division, I looked at this last night on the postcast, in the National League. Phillies are a half game up on the Dodgers. And then the Brewers, I believe, are up there. I think they're 4 or 5 games back. Going to the league standings. Beep-bop. Phillies, Dodgers, half game back. 3.5 games back are the Brewers. Rhys Hoskins, Milwaukee Brewers, 3.5 games back. Braves and Diamondbacks, 5.5 games back of first place in the National League, as well as the Padres. The Mets are 7 games back. And then there's quite a drop-off. Womp, womp. Philosopher 76. Do you think it's time for Topper to change the lineup, mix it up a bit instead of having Schwarbaum lead off every single game? He never budges. Given this might not be the problem. Yeah, I don't think Schwarber's the problem. I think Castellanos has earned himself a promotion. And looking at last night's game, he's batted. Let's see, where do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he was 6 last night. Brandon Marsh has been hitting better lately. Nick Castellanos, I haven't looked at his numbers recently. I know he's like 270 since May 19th. And I've referenced many times the numbers Nick Castellanos has been putting up ever since that series in San Francisco, really following what he's been doing this year. But Nick Castellanos over the last month, including last night's game, Wait, what am I looking at here? Oh, yeah, 275 in July, 276 in June. Over the last week, he's only hitting 217. The last 15 days, he's hitting 245. So he dropped off a little bit. All right. Am I looking? Huh. Yeah, all right. So a little bit of struggle. So maybe, keeping him down there is fine and dandy. Stott needs to get hot. I don't know anyone who's looking to take other positions in this lineup, unfortunately. IBH, that's good. With respect to preseason snaps, I'd like to see the first string defense get enough snaps to build some familiarity under gameplay. I'd like to see it. Charles dead too early for Nola ASMR. Philosopher, the clutch hitting on this team has been almost non-existent since London. That is true. Real Muto must not be 100%. I've never seen a catcher get so many days off. Something isn't right. Go Phillies, keeping the faith. I ain't losing the faith. I agree with you on that. What was the play? There was a play in Seattle. I want to say it was a little. Did he get a little nubber in Seattle down the third base line, maybe, and he busted it down first base? And he looked pretty good on that. I don't know if the injury thing is factoring into it as much as it is just making sure you keep him healthy. But it is odd that he didn't even get an at-bat. Last at-bat of the game is Garrett Stubbs. That should never happen, Rob Thompson. Never. Love the screen, says Philosopher. Brother Hannibal, what's going on? Is that a Hannibal Barca coin from Carthage? Is that a Carthaginian coin? Excuse me as I nerd out for a second. Is that a Carthaginian coin? Anyway, Phillies lineup overrated. Well, yeah, as of late it has been. Phillies make me want some Hindu Kush. Thank you, buddy Christ. I give you all the permission. Philosopher, 4-12 since the All-Star break, the Phillies. Zink was the greatest. Morning, Farzi. What position are you concerned about the most? I assume you mean for the Philadelphia Eagles. Concern, outside linebacker. I think the Eagles have so many choices at corner. Somebody's got to be good enough to play. Like I got confidence in Darius Slay, and I'm loving everything I'm hearing about Quenyon Mitchell. Keely Ringo to me is still a don't forget about me type of character. Reed Blankenship needs to stay healthy. It's pretty much a lot of the defense. I don't have a lot of concern offensively speaking. I think Cam Jurgens can do it all. I just like to see it. Love how honest Fangio is to Jason, says Jason. Do you think this year Eagles make a splash move at the deadline? I think Howie will be lurking. I have to see the season play out before I see what that is. If it's going to be anything, Eagles like to add running backs at the deadline. So hopefully they won't have to this year. I'd always like to take another linebacker on. This team seems to never have enough corners, that's for sure. April, what's going on? Yeah, definitely going to need some shelter. This storm is moving stupid slow. Going to be nasty here the next couple days. Good luck in the Carolinas, April. Also, birthdays are stressful for sure. I got a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl. Each year we keep trying to outdo the previous year. I'm sure the weather will be clear for the party. Thank you, Dev. I need that positive attitude. Yeah, birthdays are crazy, man. I'm not someone with anxiety. I don't get anxiety. I don't it's not for me. Other people, I acknowledge it exists for other people. It's just not something that I experience. And my wife yesterday started talking about the weather. And the last time she talked about the weather with this kind of vigor, I guess, I don't know. It was our wedding week. And we were at our destination. And she turned into friggin' what's his name? Glenn Hurricane Schwartz. That's what she turned into. She's like, tomorrow's a 52% chance of precipitation, and it only goes up from there throughout the week. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? I'm not worried. It'll be fine. And it was fine. You wish it into existence, and you control the weather. That's how I do it. All right. Happy birthday, Little Toots. Thank you, April. I'm sure she'll crash the show later in the week. They will make Bruce Banner. What's going on? They will make the D line a priority, like always. Start in the trenches at the deadline. I think that makes sense. Jason A., we got to stop this. Jordan Davis and Milton Williams do not play the same position, just as far as interior defensive linemen. Nose tackle. Yeah. The catcher position hasn't been producing anything, says Babs. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. We can all get on the same page with that. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. Be back with you guys tomorrow after another 10-10 start time. Tonight, don't forget, subscribe Locked On Sports Philadelphia. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Yours truly will be there with the postcast for Locked On Sports Philadelphia. So make sure you check me out after the Phillies and Dodgers game tonight. Morning Rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. Sky Motorcars tonight, 10-10 start time. That's what you're looking at for the Phillies and Dodgers tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Of course, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Jacob Media YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. You're back with you guys tonight on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia postcast, and back with you guys tomorrow morning for the Farzy Show. Until then, have a great rest of your day, everybody. See ya. Bye.